The first step in installing the controller is to connect the battery. Make sure the battery voltage is at least 11 volts. Connect these two battery ports to the controller's battery ports. Do not reverse the positive and negative terminals. Make sure the connections are secure. After connecting, the controller's load indicator and battery indicator remain lit. The communication indicator flashes slowly, which is a normal condition. Step 2. Download the mobile app. Turn on your phone's Bluetooth. Open the app. Open the app. Type at device. Find this device. Click to establish Bluetooth connection. The default password is 66S. You can tap remember password, then tap connect. Click to enter the main interface. We can see that this battery type is a lead-acid battery. It is the controller's default battery type. We have connected the lithium-ion battery. The third step is to adjust the battery parameters so that they match the actual battery specifications. Click Settings, Battery Settings, Set up Battery. Select lithium battery. Click this setup wizard. Select lithium iron phosphate battery. Next, select the number of battery strings. For 48, it has 16 strings. For every 12F, it has 4 strings. If you have a 15-cell pack, then choose the 15-cell option. Always refer to the battery manufacturer's specifications. Click OK, click Send, and the battery settings are complete. Return to the home page. The settings remain the same. Next, we'll connect the solar panels and the load. Never reverse the positive and negative terminals. Be sure to plug the wires into this terminal block to ensure a secure connection. Do not allow loose connections. We can see the charging indicator flashing, which means it is charging. In the app, we can also see that the current voltage of the solar panel is around 90 V, and the current is around 7.4 A. Next, we allow connect the load. The controller outputs the battery voltage at the load terminal. For example, if the battery is currently fully charged, its voltage is around 56.7. In that case, the voltage at the load terminal will also be around 56.7 or 56.8. Since the load is enabled by default, it will light up as soon as it is connected. We can turn it on or off in the app. The controller offers 8 load operation modes. In the settings, go to Load Settings to select the mode. There are light-controlled, time-controlled, and battery voltage-controlled modes. Segmented means the load turns on or off based on a set schedule. All of this can be configured according to your actual needs. Here, there is a battery short circuit protection feature. Click the small question mark icon to view a detailed explanation, which helps us understand and troubleshoot issues. Short circuit protection is triggered when the controller is connected to inductive loads, such as water pumps or inverters. This may trigger the short circuit protection. Turning it off will allow the system to operate normally. However, the controller will then lose its load short circuit protection capability. Do not short circuit the load terminals during operation, as this may damage the controller. Therefore, we set it to manual for easier control. There are many other settings here. I'll briefly go over them. These are the USB settings. They offer 2 modes. One is always on, and the other is smart temperature control. We can set it to turn on or off based on the controller's internal temperature. In this temperature controlled mode, we can install this USB cooling fan. We plug it into the USB port. It will turn the USB power on or off based on the internal temperature. Essentially, it controls whether the fan is on or off. There are also some other settings. Battery voltage calibration. This allows you to fine-tune the controller to display the measured voltage more accurately. There are also temperature settings, 485, device information, and more. Device information can be updated remotely. For example, let us check if an update is available. If so, we can click Update. Click the 3 dots in the upper right corner to restart the device or restore factory settings. We won't go into specific details here. You can learn more by referring to the user manual or the controller as knowledge base. Now let us talk about remote connections. For now, we're just connecting via Bluetooth. Our controller has built-in Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. We can connect to your home router as network via Wi-Fi. Generally, When setting up the network, you first need to connect via Bluetooth, then register an account. I've already registered and logged in. Once registration is complete, let us go back to the settings. Go to One Smart Cloud, tap it and enter the SID. It can only connect to 2.4 GHz networks. Also, pay attention to the encryption methods. One is Wi-Fi and the other is Bluetooth. There are prompts for this below. If you can connect sometimes, take a close look at these prompts, then enter the password. That is how you successfully connect. Here we can see the connection status and signal strength. Generally, the signal strength should be around 60. It is best to keep it at 60 or below. We can also change this device as username and share the device. For example, let us say I want to share this device with another user. Of course, they'll only be able to view it, they won't be able to operate it, turn it on or off, or adjust its settings. So, enter the account of the person you want to share with here. They'll need an account for our app. Once sharing is complete, they can log into the app to view the controller as status, and that completes the network setup. Let us go back to the task list. Here is the list of local Bluetooth connections. Once we completed the network setup for this device, it will appear in this remote list. Tap it to access the main interface. As you can see, there is a cloud icon, which indicates that this is a remote connection, not a Bluetooth connection. Now we can control the load. As you can see, it is currently on. I'll tap it again to turn it off. We now successfully achieved remote control. As for the USB, we just set it to temperature control. Since the controller's current temperature is 39.3 degrees, the USB hasn't turned on. That concludes the entire network setup process. I'll now demonstrate a remote OTA update. Let us go to Settings, Device Information, tap Check for updates. These are some prompts. Please follow these instructions carefully, as updating is a critical operation. Tap to start the update. It usually takes anywhere from a few tenths of seconds to 1 or 2 minutes, depending mainly on your network connection. It is generally recommended to use Bluetooth for the update, as this will increase the success rate. Stay on the current screen during the update. Do not navigate away. Once the update is complete, the controller will automatically reboot. After rebooting, the load is set to on by default, so the indicator light will remain steady. After rebooting, it will automatically connect to the remote control app. Now let us turn off the load. This completes the remote update. Remote updates primarily involve us pushing out optimizations or new features from time to time. This is the system log. We can use these logs to analyze and monitor the overall operational status of the system, especially when exceptions occur. These logs are extremely helpful when we need to troubleshoot issues. Here is a statistical summary of charging and discharging data. You can view very detailed data for the past 7 days. You can view it in list format or as a bar chart. The data can be shared or exported as a file. That is basically all there is to the controller. Both the controller and the app feature an extensive knowledge base that you can use to deepen your understanding of the controller and its features. Thank you for watching. This concludes our presentation.